let your kids be kids. Obviously give them like structure. Be so supportive of whatever your kids want to do. Because if your kids feel like they're doing something you don't support or like frown upon, or like a path, like if they want to go into a certain career and you don't think it's good enough. If they don't think they're good enough for you, they're going to trust you less. They're not going to like come to you with things. Your relationship isn't going to be as strong, and that's going to affect both of you, and it's just not going to be good. So like let your kids live, support them in whatever they do, give them guidance obviously, but just like let them know that you're there for them no matter what.
Welcome back to Journey to June. I'm your host, Wendy Basilico. We are here instigating who you're meant to be and what you really desire so that you make a huge, bold imprint in the world and live into who you're meant to be. And part of that journey is interviewing people of all ages. And this month's theme is all about interviewing high school, college graduates, but also people in the middle of all that, and really discovering what they want, who they are. And my guest today that I just thrown in last minute, but all so excited to have her on here, Makyna Shaffer.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, so I just rolled in here saying, we're got to get this done. You know, we got to get you on here before I take off for the summer. And I just think Makyna has, in the short time I've met her, demonstrates a doer. She has drive, and she has real clarity at the moment of what she wants, and is open also to stir the pot, get into things that are different than what she normally does. So welcome,
Thank
Makyna.
you. I'm so excited.
So tell us where you're at. Obviously summer, taking a break, working for me, but
right now I am going to the University of Florida. I'm a nursing major. It's summer. I'm not taking any summer classes, but I just finished my freshman year. But whenever I go back in the fall, I'll actually be a junior, and then I'll be graduating in 2026.
Oh, you're skipping a year.
So I got into my school's nursing program, which is only 2 years. So I'll start in the fall, and then it goes fall to spring. So I'll graduate in spring of 26. So, yep.
3 years of college.
Yep.
Getting it done.
Bachelor's done. Yep.
You go, girl. It's not shocking. She operates at a very fast pace, but very efficient.
Helps.
So as I mentioned, we were doing this. I'm really picking the brains of those driven, ambitious young souls that are in this crazy world we live in that can get very distracted. But I'm attracted to the people I'm interviewing because of your ambition, your drive. But obviously, you're not woken up like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to this college. I know exactly what I want. So part of this whole conversation is all to kind of pick your brain of how you got there.
Okay.
And maybe you had some struggles down the road, but like, let's see where this conversation takes us.
Okay.
When you think, it's just so funny how the universe works, how we met, and how
exactly.
like you were brought to us just in the last 4 days. Like, I feel like I know you better than any employee I've ever had. So, but when you think back, I just like laughing at myself of like how I'm going to navigate this conversation. When you think back of like growing up, you're the youngest?
I'm the youngest of 4.
Okay.
So I have 2 older brothers and an older sister.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
So I grew up for like the first like 10 years of my life in Loxahatchee, Florida. So it's like calm town, everyone knows everyone. And then in 4th grade I moved to Jupiter, and then I lived in Jupiter until just a few months ago. But I went to elementary, middle, and high school in Jupiter, Florida.
So what was the difference of living in Loxahatchee in a small town compared to moving Jupiter? Like, what do you remember in the short time?
Jupiter's still like small-ish, but I think the mentality and like the mindset of people in the different places, obviously there's like driven people in like both places and like people who slack off, but I think like the general mentality of the people I surrounded myself with, and all of my friends were like better in Jupiter. They were more driven. They like wanted to do things with their life. They didn't just like care about what they were doing on the weekends or like having fun. They like everyone pushed each other, and even within my friend group, we were all super supportive of each other, but we all like wanted to do better. Like we were all like pushing each other to like study or like go do different volunteering. And like in Loxahatchee, I just didn't see that as much. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but like with my group of friends, we would just like hang out, not really do anything for our future.
So you
like,
really blossomed here.
Yes, definitely. I'm
Jupiter.
so grateful to move. I was like upset at first because I was leaving my friends, but now I definitely can reflect and be like, I'm so grateful. So my parents moved here for us to go to school in Jupiter.
Got it.
So they wanted us to surround ourselves with like people who wanted to do better. So
Got it.
I'm so grateful.
How old
for that.
were you when you
I was,
moved?
I guess 9. Yeah, so going into
So
4th grade.
interesting when I think of all the different moves I made with Josie. Like she was around 8 when we moved from like mountains to here, and we knew no one. Like we knew some family, but when you think back, like you said I didn't really want to move.
No, not at all.
So what would you tell anybody who's young kid who's gone through a transition? What advice would you give a parent who might have a child who's struggling with a transition? Maybe a school, maybe a location.
Definitely let it all work out. Like everything will work out the way it's supposed to. Obviously I had some bumps like with my friends in Jupiter, but like everything works out the way it's supposed to. And going to school here was very beneficial. So if you're making a big transition or a jump, let everything play out. It'll all work the way it's supposed to. And just like live your life.
I love it. It's actually kind of how I met you, because it's just kind of sometimes when you're aligned with where you're supposed to be, as my daughter says, like you will find your answers if you live the question. And sometimes the stress of not knowing the unknown, by being stressful, you actually don't allow that opportunity to happen. So I love that, like let it play out, but being a participant in that playing out.
Definitely, I would say to say yes. Say yes. Obviously, if it's like dangerous, don't say yes. But like if like an opportunity comes out and like you're uncomfortable, like it's stepping out of your comfort zone, like try it out. And if you don't like it, then whatever. But like say yes, do things, volunteer places, go shadow, like go do stuff.
So let me ask you, when do you consciously remember you saying yes when it was uncomfortable? Like, well, give me an example.
I would say the most like prominent example of that right now would be, so whenever I got my college decisions back, the entire time I went to go to Florida State, I was like, I'm gonna be a Knoll, I'm going to Florida State. And then I got into UF and I was like, oh, like I have a choice now. And I was like very against UF. I didn't love it at first, but I said yes. Like I was like, I feel like I need to go to UF. Like I feel like it's better for my career, better for like to surround myself with other people like me. And like obviously I had some friends going, but I was like, I feel like that's right. And it was very uncomfortable because I was like, I don't know. Like it's very undetermined like what's gonna happen. But I think that was like an uncomfortable decision I had to make. But I'm glad I did.
Do you when you think back to the college experience of applying and all these things, which is stressful,
it was
and
awful.
so
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about that. Like,
so all through high school, all anyone cares about is like you need to make your resume look good. Like you need to be doing X, Y, and Z to get into the college of your dreams, and it still might not happen. So like all of high school, everyone's pushing each other. Like you need to take the best classes. You need to be the best of your class. Like you need to have straight A's. You need to be the president of this club. Like you just need to be doing more. And so that's super stressful.
So that's that even comment, like it's drilled into you that you have to do more to be credible to get into a college.
Basically to be successful. Everyone like in high school, like that determines.
Interesting.
And that wasn't put on me by my parents at all. Like my parents are like, hey, like you know what you want to do, like do whatever you need to do to get it done. But they weren't like pressuring me at all to like go to college or go to a certain college. I did that to myself. I was like, hey, like I want to go to a good college. I want to like do something for myself. So
is that coming, you say it's from you, but is that coming from your group of people?
My friends all were like go-getters. They were like, oh, I'm in this internship and like I'm doing this with my life and I want to go to this school. they were all definitely like self-motivated and wanted to do stuff. So I wanted to do stuff too. But I don't know. I think it's just like everything. Like my family, my friends, my environment, my school, myself.
So would you, looking back of this, because when I mentioned college, like prepping, getting ready to go apply to college, your face was like, oh.
No,
like,
yeah.
So what would anybody listening that's curious of how, because that is, like even in my head, I'm like, okay, we got to volunteer now. We have to do some charity.
Yeah.
But what advice would you give someone of like going down that road of
College
you
applications.
know, college application, also like creating a, you say a resume or whatever of who you are without the pressure? Because I saw it in your eyes.
Yeah.
And I saw you were like, oh, it was so hard. Like I
would
felt
not
like
do it
that was
again.
saying.
Yeah.
But going back, would you do something different?
I think I would be more intentional with what I did in the beginning of school. I would be like, oh, I need to be in every club. I need to like be doing everything. But I think it's more important to be more involved in a few things that you're passionate about. So like say there's a club or like a charity you really like and you're really passionate about that field, like do more, volunteer for them, like see if you can get on their board, see if you can make a club at your school, like be more intentional with what you're doing rather than just have a bunch of little things that you did like one time, because you're going to stress yourself out. You're not going to like it. You're going to be miserable doing it, and then it won't be worth it. And then whenever you go to apply to college and they're like, what's the most influential thing? Like you did a lot of little things, but nothing like super massive, and it's not going to have any payoff to you either, like doing the volunteer work.
It's so good. I love the word intentional because we do a course, it's called Be Intentional, but it's all really surrounded what you just said. It's literally, you know, again, we're not taught this. Like, what do we like? What, how do I know how to know what I like? And no one has the answers but you. But if we don't give a space to figure out what I need, what I desire, I can't be intentional. I'm just like signing up for this and that, either to compete or to get it on my resume.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't serve you if you don't like it.
Yeah, it's not doing anything for you.
So a lot of what we do, intentionality is like a huge part because it gives you answers. If you're trying to be intentional and you go out there and do something, either a job or a volunteer, and like it literally makes you feel awful and you're reflecting on it, those are your answers.
Yeah.
But we're not taught that in schools. We're not taught that. We're just like going, doing. So I love that advice. And I think I really, my passion is to help people be more intentional to figure out who they are and what they want rather than leave it to chance and like at age 30 you're doing something you don't want to do.
Because someone told you had to or you felt like that's what you needed to do. Yeah.
Amen.
For sure.
Amen. I like that. Great advice, madam. I hope someone's listening that is like early in like high school or even before high school, like just not putting that pressure, but just really choosing few things that make
it worth it. Like if you're doing something because someone else tells you have to, or even your parents or like your friends, and you're like miserable doing it, then you're just going to hate the whole process, and then it's going to like reflect on you poorly. And like the entire experience and like all of that time is wasted.
So what was one thing you did, even though it wasn't intentional, one thing you did that you were like, oh, that aligns with me, and one thing that you did that you were like, what a waste of time? Just curious. Like, and how did it make you feel?
I think so. Freshman year, we had this like medical club at our school. It's called HOSA. Sorry, HOSA. But like everyone did it. We were like kind of not like forced to be in it, but like I thought that if I wanted to be successful in the medical field and like if I wanted to go to a good school, like I had to be in HOSA. I had to like get super involved in it. So I did it for like freshman and sophomore year, and then I was like, I don't enjoy this. Like I don't want to go to competitions. I don't want to debate about medical terminology. Like I don't care. Like that is a waste of time for me. Like I'm just doing it because I feel like I have to. So I stopped doing that. I didn't do it junior year. And then,
but even with that, like there is an answer at the end. Like if you didn't do it, you might have been curious that, or maybe not.
Maybe. I don't, like I wasn't like super involved.
So right at the front, you were like, "This, I'm not."
I
into
would like
this.
go to meetings, and I'm like, "This is a waste of my time. I could be home. I could be doing literally anything else.
Mm.
And so I like stopped doing it. But like even so I thought that would be like super good to put on my college resume and be like, I was on HOSA, I was super involved. Like this is medical, because I was going towards the medical field. Some of my friends that were like in HOSA, super involved, they didn't get into like some colleges that like I would want to go to. Like it totally just depends. Like college applications, sorry to go back to that, but like they're rigged. Like it doesn't matter. Each school is looking for such a specific thing, and at a certain point, it's a lottery. So like some people you would think are overqualified for a school don't get in, and then someone you're like, oh, like they kind of did bare minimum, whatever, they get in. So like even if you're doing the most, everything will work out. But
it goes back to what you were saying.
Yeah,
like let it play out.
Let it play out. Okay. Even if you think you like are meant to go to a school, or like you're supposed to be somewhere and you don't get in, or like you're trying so hard for something to happen and it just won't happen, like trust that, because like something else is meant to happen.
So awesome advice, because I think we are taught to like have this plan.
Oh my, what's your 10-year plan? I don't know. Like, it's going to change tomorrow. What do you want from me? Like, sorry.
Yeah, no. I love it. Because it is it could be anything. It could be like a loss of a job, not getting into college. It could be breaking up with a boyfriend. Like, I always believe, you can say universe, God, someone sent, it's actually a gift if you can shift the perspective.
It's a blessing in
disguise.
How do
was that taught by your mom, or like where did you get that perception?
So my mom definitely is like a big influence in that. She's always like, everything happens for a reason. So like my kind of upbringing, she tells me this all the time. So I was not planned at all. I have 3 siblings. Like I was not planned.
We had one in our family too, so don't worry.
Yeah. And but like my entire life, my mom would always be like, you're the blessing I never knew I needed. So like whenever she first found out she was pregnant, like my sister was like 9 months old. She was like still breastfeeding. She was like, there's no way I'm pregnant again. Like this is insane. And then up until a little while before I was born, they thought I was a boy. Not a boy. Like they had everything planned out. Like my entire like baby or nursery, blue and green. Like everything was planned out. I had a whole nother name. Like everything was like engraved. Everything was planned. And then she went to another one and they were like, oh, she's a girl. And then I'm a girl, obviously. But so she was always like, you're a blessing I never knew I needed. And like that just stuck with me my whole life. I'm like, oh, I wasn't planned, but like I am doing stuff with my life. Like obviously things are planned for me. And so I just apply it to everything. Like everything's meant to be. It happens for a reason.
Gift. I just interviewed my great aunt at 100 years old, and she was the last. It's funny, she says 8. It's my grandfather's youngest sister, who's the last one living, and they actually had 4 other siblings that had passed that were young. But anyway, she says she was also a surprise for my great grandma. She was like, yeah, I was like, the doctor was like, I don't know if this is like a good idea.
It all worked out.
It all works out. I said that. I was like, okay, I wouldn't have met you. Yep. I wouldn't have had like aunt that lived till 100. Like it's meant to be. Exactly. I think I'm laughing that you were so into Florida State. So
yeah,
like
really
where does that come from, like family?
Oh, definitely not. My mom hates Florida State.
Okay, so you just had it in your mind like, I'm going to Florida State.
My best friend was a Knoll growing up, and I just think like the football fans were so obnoxious. Like I'm never gonna do that. But then I went to Florida State with her for a football game, and I fell in love with the campus.
Got it.
I was like, this is beautiful, like so much fun. I went on a tour there. They were so helpful. Like I know other people in like the nursing program at Florida State. And I was like, this will work. I think in the back of my head, I was like, you're not getting into UF. Like, you're not good enough for UF. Because it's, like, held as this, like, prestige. It's just a school. But, so I thought I, like, couldn't get in. And, like, I, like, set myself up for, like, if I did get rejected, it would be okay. Like, I had another plan. So I was, like, full Florida State. And, well, now I'm a Gator, so. It's like a mix of
Speaking of that, you remind me of my daughter when she went to when she applied for Bach. She like didn't want to talk too much about it because she was like, if I don't get in, then
it's like not embarrassing. It's
then
like,
she actually got in, and she was like not even sure she wanted to go because she really didn't want to like assume. But even that lesson, because it's almost like I don't want to say you were playing small.
No, definitely.
Oh, definitely.
Like I was an overachiever in high school. Like, I stressed myself out. I got straight A's. I did the extra classes. I dual enrolled. I graduated college before I graduated high school. Like, I was going above and beyond. There's no reason I shouldn't have gone to my school. I was top 10.
So what do you learn from that? Like, how do you shift, like, reflecting on the way you were thinking or being?
The competitive mindset that I, like, put for myself and, like, fearing rejection, I, like, set myself up for that. So, like, I didn't want to be so diehard. I want to go to University of Florida, not get in, be heartbroken, all of my plans I had shattered, and be like, oh, I'm lost. Like, I don't know what to do now. Like, what if I got in there? What would have happened? Like, now I'm going to my second choice. Like, what's going to happen there? So I think I was just setting myself up to be like, okay. And I still do that.
So, yeah. So my question is, like, maybe it works for you.
I don't know.
But, like, I think it's an interesting thing because...
Like, I know it's bad.
Well, is it bad? Like, that's just, like, I don't know.
It's, like, I guess it's confusing.
To you?
Yes. Because I'm like, oh, I'm pretty qualified for it, I would say, in my opinion, of, like, my academics, whatever, my resume, my essays, whatever. But, like, I did it this past spring. So I applied for the UF nursing program in the spring. And I was like, I applied. I, like, did all the things, whatever. I applied, and I was like, it's okay. Like, I'm a year ahead. If I don't get in, it's okay. I'll do X, Y, and Z next year. I'll, like, take fun classes. I'll get 2 minors. I'll do this. I'll do that. And then I can always apply again next year. I was like, it's fine. So decisions come back. I get deferred. They were like, you're on a waiting list. Like, whatever. Heartbroken. I was like, I got rejected.
And how do you deal with that? Like, so you get deferred. Like, where do you go in your mind, or do you not talk to anybody? Like,
it was actually really bad timing. I was in Georgia. I was visiting my brother, my niece and nephew. We had just driven back to UF. It was like the last week of school. We had just driven back to UF. I was moving out of my dorm. I'm in my dorm with my best friend and then one of my friends. Decisions come out. I get an email. And I had to, like, open it on my phone, but I wanted to take a video of my reaction because I thought I was going to get in. I prop up my friend Will's phone, open it, waitlisted. It's all in video. So funny. Silence. I was like, I didn't get in. Silence. And then they, like, hugged me, whatever. My friend left, bawling my eyes out. Still had to move out of my dorm. I'm still in the University of Florida. Like, I'm still on campus, the last place I want to be. We were supposed to spend the night at UF that night and then drive home the next morning. I went back to the car to my mom. I was like, I got waitlisted. We're going home. So we packed up the whole car, went to the hotel. We're like, see you, gotta go. Made her drive all the way home, which is like 3.5 more hours. It's, like, late.
Packed car, everything.
Yeah.
Huh?
Packed to the brim, wanted to go home. The entire car ride, crying.
And your mom?
She's, like, trying to be supportive, but, like, there's nothing anyone can say to me at that point. I'm like, they're like, it's very competitive. Like, my brother texted me. He was like, it's so competitive. So wait,
you're there. Let me clarify.
Sorry.
Your freshman year, you're in there. And then for next year, you're applying for the nursing. You get deferred.
Okay, yeah. So I graduated with my AA from our, like, local state college.
Yeah,
before high school. So I had all of my prereqs except for one that I took fall of 23. So I had all my prereqs to apply to the nursing school. You're supposed to apply after your sophomore year. So that's why I was a year ahead.
You're like a year ahead and applying, and you said if you're not getting in, you're going home.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to be here.
You don't want to be here if you're not doing it.
No. I was going to stay the night, like, hang out with my friends. I was like, I do not want to be on this campus right now. Like, you rejected me. I don't want to be here right now.
Interesting.
Get me out of here. So then, whatever, I'm upset. Like, all my family members are texting me. They're like, it's okay. Like, it's a competitive college. Like, sometimes that happens. Like, rejection, whatever. Didn't want to hear it.
Okay, so you didn't want to hear that?
None of that.
What would you prefer in that moment of...
silence. Don't talk to me.
Okay, did you tell them?
Oh, no, they all know that about me. Okay. They're like, when she's upset.
So you need, like, to be in this quiet space.
Yeah, where I, like, listened to music the whole way home, and I was like, don't talk to me. Anyways, rejection, got over it. I was like, it's okay. Everything's meant to happen. I went back to that mindset.
How long did that take you? A day?
Yeah.
So you made a choice. Like,
yeah.
okay.
I was like, this is
going back to, like, let's play play it out.
Yeah, I was like, this is pathetic. Everything happens for a reason. Stop crying. Like, it'll be okay. Like, you can apply next year. You're a year ahead. It's okay.
At
this
19,
is opening.
mature.
I was like,
So
this
this
is opening.
just happened.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
this happened in end of April.
okay.
Yeah, I think it was the 26th or the 24th or something.
And you didn't have more classes to finish?
No, I wasn't going to take summer classes.
Oh, you were done, like April.
Oh, yeah. I took all of my finals, all of my classes, spring semester were a joke. So I, like, took all of my finals online, and I was, like, done.
Before other people were done. Okay.
Yeah, they have a whole another week of finals. I just didn't because my classes
You were ahead
were
of
a
the
joke.
game. Got it.
Whatever. Anyways, that happened. I was like, it's fine. Everything happens for a reason. Whatever. Then I'm in Africa. Oh, I had like that weekend. I came home and then I was off to Africa.
But like a random.
Oh, yeah. I was with one of my best friends. We were going to South Africa. So we're on this trip. We're like halfway through the trip. They're 6 hours ahead. Halfway through the trip, I wake up super early one morning. My phone's blown up. My friends are like, hey, did you get an email? Like, did you get an email? And then I go on social media and, like, other people are posting that they got off the wait list. And they were like, congratulations, you have nursing, whatever. So then I was, like, one of my really good friends, she texted me and she's like, did you get an email? And I was like, no. Like, I didn't, whatever. So I go back, check my right email. I got in. And it was like, congratulations, welcome, you have nursing, whatever. And I was so excited. And I was like, oh my goodness, like everything was meant to happen. And I was like super excited. And now I'm off.
all this moment of getting sad, literally packing your stuff, would you have left your stuff had you got in?
No.
Okay. So you're going
I still
home
had to
anyway.
pack it no matter what. I was just
Got it.
supposed to
You were
spend the
just
night
sad.
there.
So you're going, now you're in. You're doing
Oh
the
yeah,
two-year
I start in
program.
August.
So anything you would, even in those moments, would you shift anything of how you handle those moments? Like, or you just let yourself have the emotion?
Yeah, I think definitely like accepting it. Because like, what am I going to do? There's nothing you can do. You're not going to like contact College of Nursing. Like I was on the wait list. It's not like I got completely rejected.
Got it.
I guess if I had gotten completely rejected, I would have been like upset. But I thought in my head when I got waitlisted, I thought I was done.
Yeah.
I was like, nobody's declining their spot to UF Nursing. Like there's no way.
So how did you know you wanted to be a nurse? Like where does that come from?
Healthcare came into play when I was younger. My second brother, he got staph infection in his knee and he almost lost his leg. So he was in the hospital a lot.
And how old are you?
I was young. I was like real little. Maybe like 4, maybe.
Really?
I just remember being like in and out, him like being sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then that like definitely like carried with me even when we were growing up. And like he has like a scar in his knee. And so like every time I would see it, like be reminded, whatever. Then in 4th grade, we had this like project called 20% Project. My mom had this really close lady she worked with. Her name was Miss J. And in the 20% Project, you had to spend 20% of your time doing something for someone else, like whether it was charity, doing something else. So it was very popular around the time. I made her duct tape flowers so she could like always have flowers. She was battling cancer. It had come back a few more times. She was battling breast cancer, and then it spread throughout her body. But I wanted her to have a bouquet of flowers that she could keep with her and that wouldn't die. So I made her duct tape flowers, did this whole project on it, and then like a week before I was supposed to present it to her, she passed away. And so I had to go and present the flowers to her sister, which like was insane.
In 4th grade?
4th grade. I'm 10 years old. And then I still had to give the presentation in front of my class and then end it with like, oh, I couldn't actually like follow through with this. Anyways, so then that was like a big statement. I was like,
let me go back there. So when you think of that moment, did that shift you as a person when you really think about it?
Yeah.
Or like I can hear the emotion?
Definitely I wanted to like be able to help people, if that makes sense. Like I couldn't help her, but like I know how much like the support around her and like her nurses, her like team helped her get through it and like kept pushing until like she couldn't anymore. But so I knew I definitely wanted to help people. I didn't know nursing at that point. Definitely knew, wanted to help people, wanted to make a change. Like that's like what I'm on this earth to do, like help other people. So knew that 4th grade, whatever. going through
not whatever.
No,
just so you know.
But like in
my
my
daughter's
mind,
in
it was
5th
like,
grade and
okay.
she's like not there.
Oh,
she's not
that's
thinking
fine,
that.
though.
I'm just saying that's pretty mature to know that at a deep.
Growing up,
Yeah.
everyone was like, oh,
Yeah.
like I would like talk people's ear off at like 3 years old.
Got
I'd be
it.
having full on conversations, make stories. Like I was very advanced. Like that sounds stupid, but like
Yeah.
I wanted to like one up. I was surrounded by my siblings. They're all older. I wanted to hang out with them. I wanted to do what they were doing.
Yeah, trying to like.
So like so it was just
keep
like
up,
getting ahead.
Keep up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So 4th grade that happened. Knew I wanted to help other people. Healthcare was kind of in the idea. Like I had my brother's background. Healthcare kind of it was like influencing. And then growing up, when I was really little, I wanted to be a makeup artist. So random. I love stage makeup, love like the girly whatever. But then jumped off that, was like, that's not realistic. Like you're not making any money like that. Not doing that. That's gonna get really old really quick. So then middle school, I don't really remember. Middle school was like on and off, random things. High school, I wanted to be a dermatologist. I was like, that's what I want to do. I'm going to med school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a doctor, whatever. Side note, don't want to go to med school. So I was like, not doing that. Was like really against nursing school for whatever reason.
So how did you figure that out? I don't want to.
Nursing?
Okay. No. How did you figure out? Like, I don't want to go to dermatology. I'm not doing that.
Oh, I like went to a dermatologist and I was like, this is fake. They just like throw things at you and hope it works. I like struggled with acne.
Interesting.
And
okay.
they would just like throw topicals
so
at me.
your experience from the person that helped you.
Yeah, I had a couple different dermatologists and I was like, this is fake. Like they're just guessing. They're throwing things at you. I was like, I don't want to give someone false hope like they gave me. So I was like, no thank you, no dermatology, X off the list. So then I was like I was in the medical program in high school, all 4 years. So like going into high school is like.
Do everybody in high school have to find a program like that?
No.
So that's a total.
You have to apply for that in like.
You have to apply and.
So we have like
driven.
At Jupiter we have like medical, ROTC, agriculture, criminal justice.
Yeah.
Things, other ones, but you also don't have to be in a choice program. But I wanted to.
Got it.
Like I guess like the middle school transition was like I want to do medical, see where it takes me.
Yeah, beautiful.
Experience it. If I go through it and I hate it, okay, cool. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Anyways, dermatology, didn't want to do that. And then sophomore year, I interned because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Had no clue. Interned.
And that was bothering you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted a plan because everyone kept asking me, "What do you want to do with your life?" I'm 14. Leave me alone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I volunteered at this vet clinic. My best friend at the time, her like uncle or cousin or something was the main vet at this place, and we volunteered and like shadowed. Essentially, we were like vet tech assistants for like a couple months. Hated it. It was like cool at the time, but I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. So like experiencing that, saying yes, like didn't love it, but it was a cool experience. I was like, I appreciate this, but no thank you for the rest of my life. And then after that, I did a lot of volunteer work. My cousin has this charity, Little Smiles. Basically, they like support kids in the hospital and the staff. And I saw how much of a difference that like the staff makes on the kids' lives. So I was like, hey, nursing, looked into it. Like I have a couple nurses in my family, talked to them. I was like, that would set me up for everything I want to do in my life.
Which is?
So this is like a ball going.
19. I mean,
I'm
my
a
gosh.
yapper for sure.
I'm thinking, okay, that's another topic, but keep going.
I want to have a family. Like, I want to be a mom. Like, that is what I want to do. I don't want my career to be my life. Like, I want a job where I am replaceable, which everyone's like, no, I don't care. I want a job where I can take off. I can raise my kids the way I want to raise my kids. I don't want someone else raising my kids. I want a big family, and I want to be available when I can, like, when I need it. So, like, if I was a doctor, you're on standby. You're in surgery. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're responsible. People need you. As a nurse, you can be good at your job. You're obviously going to make connections with patients, which I love. Like, you're making a big difference in their life. But, like, at a certain point, another nurse can come in. Like, if I needed to be there for my kids, I could, and like balance the work life.
And are you intentional? I have no idea. But like you are so clear. And I would ask, how did you like think about all what you just talked about and think about like How did you find that clarity, and how do you know you're so clear?
I think just like in high school, I had like a couple like losses in a few months, which like really sucked, and I went to therapy.
As in kid, like friends.
A couple of my friends, and then like I had a teacher pass away, and then I had a family member pass away, so it was like a whole lot of death, and I was like, hey, what's important? What's important? Like, what do you want to do? So I went to therapy. You know, my therapist, he's so funny, but I don't go to therapy anymore. But I went, my mom made me go. She was like, you're not okay. I wasn't like dealing with it very well. I like didn't deal with death very well back then. But
I mean, do we really know how to deal with like that's not
I feel like now I'm a little bit more insensitive to it.
Because you actually
I had to experience it first. And like I think therapy helped a lot, being able to like talk about it and be like, hey, these are some tools you can use to like lower your anxiety, lower your stress.
What tools did you use?
I did a lot of like, it's like imagery. You like pause and you like think of a scene that like calms you down. You like think of everything around you, your senses, whatever. It sounds stupid, but like it helps. It like calms you down.
No, share. Because it like it could be breath work. It has to do
breathing.
With whatever has moved you, because sometimes someone could do imagery and it doesn't work for them. Like it doesn't.
Breathing helped me a lot. So like my therapist was like, hey, 3 times a day, not when you're stressed, just like normally breathe, like in through your nose, out through your mouth, like focus on breathing and focus on just that. And like it'll ground yourself, it'll calm you down, so that when you are stressed and you're in a situation like that or something pops up, you can breathe and re-ground yourself. Just like grounding. I think that's super helpful to me. Some of the things I think are silly and I'm like, oh, that might not work, whatever. But that was super helpful to me. So I was like, back to the main, whatever. I was like, hey, what's important? What do you want? And so my whole life, having a big family was like super like influential in my life. Love having a big family. Love all my siblings. Like I have a niece and nephew now. They're perfect. Like I want that. And like when I was in 5th grade, my 5th grade teacher was like Mama Makyna, because like I would just naturally take charge, like help people like go.
I don't know that at all in 3 days that I've had you around my presence. You are a take charge girl.
So I think like family, I just always knew that like family was important. I wanted to be a mom. And like
I think it's so cool. I actually was that. Like I wanted 6 kids. They
want 5.
But I also was not as direct as you, like really clear. I didn't believe I was smart enough. I struggled in school. I was like super athlete. So like it is so cool. And I think you're in a great, and this is why I had you on the podcast, that you can, like what I hear listening to your story is like you were always exploring.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you went from vet and you went from dermatology and you had like little ideas and you were seeking.
Definitely.
When you think of all the kids that you've been around, some friends, not like the people that you graduated with in high school or whatever, what do you think is missing? And I don't think everybody needs to be as clear at your age.
Definitely not. I don't think anyone, like I don't really need
I know
to
you're not the norm. Yeah. I get that. But there is a seeking even in the 20s. What do you think is what would you recommend for a young kid in college, high school, after college that is lost, that is unsure?
I think being okay with not knowing. Like parents, I don't know if it's just this generation of parents or like whatever, are so like cutthroat on their kids that like you need to be doing X, Y, and Z, and like you have to know what you're doing. You have to have a plan. You have to like know the next 10 years. You don't know that. You shouldn't be expected to know that. Like things could change tomorrow and you wouldn't know. Like you're not promised tomorrow. So why are you stressing your kid out and like overwhelming them and not giving them the tools to be like, hey, it's okay. Like explore this avenue. Like if you change your mind, if you want to be a doctor, and then you don't all of a sudden, you want to go down some other path, that's okay. And like you don't have to be the biggest whatever in a field. I think like everyone just feels so much pressure now and everything's so competitive. Colleges are competitive. Even some high schools, like if it's a choice, like that's competitive. You're competing with your peers. That needs to like tone down a notch because it's stressing everyone out. And we can't survive and like play out as our best selves if we're under that much stress. So it's like hurting you at a certain point for everyone around you, stressing you out.
Do you think they feel it only from their parents?
No, your surroundings too. Like
Mm.
everyone wants to be the best. And so you're like, hey, like I need to be doing more. Like even at UF, I'm like, oh, there's people doing more than me. Like there's always going to be someone one-upping you. And that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
So
What would you tell someone who has that feeling, what you're saying, of being overwhelmed, of not being able to change their mind, of feeling stress? Like how, through therapy, like I think when I listened to your story, you fourth grade, you dealt with death. You had a brother that got very ill. You also had friends that died in high school. So like you grew up quick also through those experiences, or it woke you up or whatever, and maybe you're ready. But like when you look at kids that are not awake, you know, they've shut it down, you know, their joy or their things that make them come alive. Like what advice, like and then we'll end on a couple other questions, but just because I think this is why I think I've wanted this, like have this theme and interview young kids. And yes, I'm interviewing people that are like driven and ambitious, but it doesn't mean I don't see that what you're saying about those kids that feel pressured from their parents and the environment around them.
I would say to like step back. Honestly, nothing is that deep. Like I say that to my friends all the time. Even my parents, they get so mad. But I'm like, nothing's that serious. Like, take a minute. You're however old. You have time. You can figure it out. You need to experience things. You need to live your youth. Because if you don't, then you're old like that. And, like, you wasted it. You can be doing so many things. Like, you don't need to grow up that fast yet. You have so much time. You have high school. You have college. You even have your early years of career that you can live.
So take a pause.
Yeah, step back.
And then the other thing, it's great to take a pause, but also what's the environment, like what do you seek in environments that fuels you? Like as in friends, whatever that is. I mean,
I think motivation all the way around.
So you like to be around, for you personally, like to be around.
Yeah, I need people that have goals and want to go places, like are driven. They like to do things. They like to be active. It doesn't have to be anything specifically, but like they're passionate about something and they like doing things, going out. Like you like to go to the beach. That's cool. You're passionate about that. And like all of my friends have their things that they're super passionate about, and it's like inspiring. I'm like, hey, like I could go try something new, and it's like fun and it keeps me alive and like
so
going.
Cool. So much clarity, madame. When you are at your best, not the driven best, but just like feel so in flow, what 3 words describe you?
Like 3 words when it's just like me and I'm good.
Like when you're like nothing's pulling at you and you just feel like you're in your lane.
I would say probably content. Like I feel like I'm my best when I'm just like, like I'm doing my best. I'm like going. So probably content.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like nothing. I don't feel like I have to be doing anything. I don't like have anything stressing on me. I'm just like good where I'm at. Okay. I'm like
so content.
Appreciative of it. Content. Probably excited. So like whether it's excited for the future or like things I have in play, so like school or like my career in the long run. I'd say excited. And then I would say rested. I am my best person when I have my sleep, and I'm just like self-care is good, like my head's clear. Yeah, rested. I love my sleep. I could sleep for like 24 hours.
A very interesting from a 19-year-old that I don't think I see many 19-year-olds thinking that way, where they're up at night scrolling on their phone. Like I have nieces and they're always on their phones.
Oh, my screen time's high. Sure.
Ah.
Sure.
Okay.
But like during the day.
Are you intentional about that? Like screen time?
Oh, I know it's bad.
No, I'm saying, do you work on that, or are you aware of that?
Yeah, no, definitely I'm aware. I like during school, my first semester, so fall semester, I deleted TikTok. TikTok is such a waste of time. But like now it's summer and I'm like, what else am I doing? Like if I'm not doing anything, I can scroll. It's okay. Like it doesn't really matter.
Do you think that affects those that are stressed? Like what do you?
Oh, definitely. It can definitely be something that makes you unproductive. Like I force myself to do at least one productive thing a day. It's like very important. I'm like, you weren't productive today. Go do this. Go work out. Go do something for school. Go make an appointment for something. Like be productive. But then at night, I'm like, hey, you're okay to like relax. Like you were good today.
But you're intentional about it.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, so like part of, and you're learning what Live Your June's about, and the journey, and when you think of the imprint currently, which I know, like, what imprint do you want to leave on? It could be in 10 years, it could be right now. When you think of the imprint that you're leaving on people, when you think of that,
want people to think I'm genuine and probably helpful. Like I want people to like think of me and like me leave behind the fact that like I was there for people when they needed it, and like I was putting every like effort I had into them. Like when I was with them and I was like dedicating something to them, I was like genuine about it, and not that it was productive, but just like effective.
I'll agree with that. I feel it, and I've only met you for 3 days. So you are a pure soul. And for 19, I forget you're 19, like you were sitting on the table with Josie and her friend, and they were talking like, music. It's over my head at 52. I'm like, they're talking all these, you can like hang with me and then you can hang with them. And it was so beautiful to watch, to see your youth come out. And
definitely go both ways.
Yeah. Like it was so cool to like, I was like, really, she's only 8 years older than them. And like, you kind of like let it go, released.
Yeah.
So it was cool because either you have very young people at your age that are kind of not directed, or I mean, you're like kind of in the middle. Like you can be both, and it's kind of like
not
cool to
act
see.
Apart, but like I know when I'm in each situation, like
you can
what
read
to
the
put
room.
forth.
Yeah, very cool. Any other advice for people in your high school, college, graduate, that you making a difference that you are, and genuine? Any last words that you want to say to parents or the youth?
Probably going back to parents.
Yeah, parents. Yeah, go.
Parents.
Yeah, what I want to hear that, actually.
Let your kids be kids. Obviously give them like structure and support them. I think support, actually. Be so supportive of whatever your kids want to do. Because if your kids feel like they're doing something you don't support or like frown upon, or like a path, like if they want to go into a certain career and you don't think it's good enough, if they don't think they're good enough for you, they're going to trust you less. They're not going to like come to you with things. Your relationship isn't going to be as strong, and that's going to affect both of you, and it's just not going to be good. So like let your kids live, support them in whatever they do, give them guidance obviously, but just like let them know that you're there for them no matter what.
It's so well said. I'll end on that because I work. It's not easy because you're not. But I think I see it when I step back and give space, how I'm creating better trust. Because
sure.
It's especially at 11,
Helicopter
it's just
moms,
opening. I'm opening the can of worms. I'm just going to call you. Help me. But thank you so much, Makyna.
Thank you for having me.
This
is
on.
so good.
So fun. I love it. And you'll be at our next retreat because you're going to join us in July.
Yes, I will.
So welcome. Thank you for joining us on this episode with Makyna and learning about her journey of really getting clarity of what she desires, who she is. And I think the message I want to say to young people and parents is like, it's a journey, as you said. Take a pause. Like, just because McKenna knows the direction, like, very clear.
It's totally okay not to know.
It's okay not to know, and it's okay to, like, be curious and experiment and learn, because life is meant to weave in and out, and when you get pressured to do something you think you should do, it doesn't feel good, as you said.
Right, yeah.
Such a great conversation. I could go on and on. So thanks for listening to Journey to June. If you're curious for any of our retreats or coaching, or just want to be on our email list for our Soul Skater Weekly, just reach out to us. We'll pop you on, and we'd love you to be part of our community. And you can find us on any of the platforms, and also our website at liveyourjune.com. Thanks again for listening.